Hello and welcome to today's webcast. My name is Jasmine Peart and I'm the marketing lead here at AlfaPeople. I'll be your moderator today. For those of you who are new to GoToWebinar, we just have a few guidelines for your use. Audio is enabled only for the presenters. Upon joining the webcast, you will be placed on mute. If your audio isn't working for some reason, please attempt to log out and log back into the meeting. You can also find the audio information in your audio panel, and you can also look at your Outlook appointment or the confirmation email that was sent out to you. We'd love for you to get the most out of your time with us today. So if you have any questions or comments during the webcast, please enter them in your Q&A box. Our presenters are online and we'll make every attempt to pause throughout the program, and we will leave time for Q&A at the end of the session. Finally, this presentation is being recorded today. If you need to hop off early or you have any colleagues who could not attend, we'll be sending a link to the recording that you can share after. On to the agenda for today, we'll be discussing the importance of digital transformation and where Microsoft Dynamics 365 fits in. We'll also give you a brief overview of AlfaPeople and how we're working with Microsoft to help enable digital transformation among businesses. We'll take you on a live demo of the Microsoft 365 environment. And lastly, we'll wrap up with a Q&A session at the end. Now let's meet our presenters. Peter Chalem is on the call today, and he's our VP of Marketing and Sales with AlfaPeople. He'll give you an overview of digital transformation, Microsoft Dynamics 365, and AlfaPeople, the company. Secondly, you'll hear from Jeff, Senior ERP Technical Specialist at Microsoft. He will take us into the live environment and focus on some of the key functional areas. And lastly, we'll hear from Brent Fudala, Director of Retail Solutions at AlfaPeople. And he will also take us into the retail portion of the live environment of Dynamics 365. Thank you all and welcome to the webcast. Peter, take it away.
Thank you, Jasmine. Hi, everyone, and thank you for the time that you're taking from your agenda to join us. So like Jasmine said, the idea is that we're going to share a little bit about the digital transformation and Dynamics 365. So the first thing, of course, is to try to define the digital transformation. And for that, I think the best definition I've seen yet is from Satya Nadella, who is the CEO from Microsoft. And you can see it on the screen, but basically the idea of digital transformation is how do we make sure that we take advantage of everything that is going on and all the advantages that are happening in the world right now based on technology, basically, in order to bring value to customers and keep our competitive advantage. That means all the people, putting together the people, the data, the processes, and everything we do. So that's basically what we're managing with looking for with the digital transformation. Can you go on, Jasmine? Specifically for the Dynamics 365 and Microsoft, the digital transformation is focused on a set of tools that we'll check in a second in the next slides, but their objective mainly is to allow you to engage your customers on different ways that you've been doing it and with much more information. Empower your employees at the same time, giving them all the data and the resources and the information from the system in order to do their job. Of course, optimize your business in all areas and using all that, transforming your products. And that's what we're looking for to do with Dynamics 365 on the digital transformation world we live on. So Dynamics 365. Jasmine, can you go on? So the state of the market. I suppose everyone knows this, but analysts said that by 2020, customer experience will overtake price and product as the key brand differentiator. I think it's pretty clear to see that. You see it in brands every day, like Amazon, like Apple. People pay more, but they love the customer experience. So it's a given, and we're gonna get there eventually everywhere. Productivity, a lot of the workers of every employee productive time is lost when we switch tasks. The number is around 450 billion per year that are lost based on that. So of course, if we can improve that, if we can make it more user-friendly, if we can make employees work better, then we're tapping into that number very, very importantly. And then, of course, speed of business, right? And I suppose everyone sees it every day. Companies that are embracing digital transformation and are creating much more revenue and way better customer experiences for all the customers. So it's not something that you can afford not to do, basically. So as we said, the idea is that we're going to present Dynamics 365. We're going to explain to you why Dynamics 365 can help you with all this stuff about the digital transformation and how you can take advantage of it. Jasmine. Yeah. So Dynamics 365 is basically a cloud service offering from Microsoft that allows customers to run their entire business from end to end with intelligent applications that seamlessly work together in the cloud. It unifies all the ERP and CRM business software capabilities, but additionally, it offers a lot of complementary applications. As you can see in the slide, the main areas of Dynamics 365 are the project service automation, sales, customer service, operations, the marketing, which we are partnering with Adobe to provide all the marketing with totally integrated, and the field service. But additionally to that, all this functionality is 100% integrated with Office 365. It brings Power BI and Cortana Intelligence Suite, which basically give all the business intelligence needs, machine learning, data management, big data management, everything you would need. It has an area for Azure Internet of Things, which is basically to connect the Internet of Things to all the Dynamics 365. And additionally to that, it has a couple of really amazing tools like Power Apps, which allows customers to create apps connected to their system. So you want to create a specific app so customers can see how their order is coming. You can create that with Power Apps without doing major coding. So it's just drag and drop, and you basically design new apps. Microsoft Flow is a workflow system that allows you to create workflows using any and all applications and systems that you have, being from Microsoft or not. You can basically integrate with anything. And then on top, you can see the Microsoft App Source, and the App Source is very important because basically it's like a marketplace where partners from all over the world are developing a specific functionality to complement all the standard things that Dynamics 365 can bring. So every day more, there are more solutions there, of course. And for every industry that any customer can just decide to use and just select it, and it will be installed with their Dynamics 365 environment and work with that. Advantages of Dynamics 365. Purpose built, this is very important. You can start very, very small and grow at your own pace. And that includes functionality, and it also includes number of users. So anyone can have Dynamics 365, and this means small companies, mid-sized companies, or enterprise level companies, and all of them will have the same functionality. So we're democratizing the use of really advanced ERP solution and CRM solutions for everyone. Productivity, all of Dynamics 365 is built on a user experience that is basically what you see every day in the office environment. So if you know how to use Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and similar, you would basically know how to use Dynamics 365, which will definitely help on the productivity side. Intelligence, yes, as I mentioned, we have the Power BI and the Cortana intelligence, and basically the idea is to get data and information that can allow us to make better decisions in all regards: customers, products, processes, everything. And additionally, of course, everything is built on the Microsoft platform, right? So it's a extensible platform like Microsoft has been always. Programming language is standard programming language for Microsoft, so C# is what we use. Those are the main advantages of Dynamics 365, but of course, there are many more. I think with that, I will leave it to Brent and to Jeff to show you the demo. I don't want to take too much of your time, but of course, if anyone has questions in relation to this, just let me know, and for sure we can answer them. Thank you.
Good morning, good day, and good evening, everybody. It's Jeff Einig from Microsoft. Today I'm going to take a few minutes and walk you through the user experience for the Dynamics 365 application. The first, as we start off here, we are looking at what we call the dashboard in the application. This is a simple, Dynamics 365 is a simple and modern touch-enabled interface for the devices we use today, with that familiar Office 365 look and feel. Dynamics 365 for Operations has unparalleled usability to drive productivity, that same productivity that Peter was talking about earlier that is costing the economy so much money. All in a browser-independent web application. So while I'm running today in Internet Explorer, it can run in the browser of your choice. People can interact with the system with ease, as Dynamics 365 for Operations works like other Microsoft applications that people are used to, which increases the adoption of the solution and its usage. So if we take a look at the what we call the dashboard or landing page of Dynamics 365, you can see that we do have that familiar Office 365 look and feel with that, with the reminders and the help and the give feedback items. So it's got that familiarity. What we're looking at here is the dashboard. The dashboard is the starting point where someone would start their day and frequently come back to get guidance on things and alerts in the system. I'm going to take you through a little bit of the navigation of the solution. The first point over here is we're going to be looking at the dashboard, and we'll walk through these things called workspaces in a minute. But for those who want to navigate in a more traditional manner, we do have a traditional module menu as well. And from the module menu, any item that you want to come to or be reminded of, you can always click and assign it to your own personal favorites, so you always have items you can come back to. Just as well, you can have recent, so if you go to somewhere and you come back and forth, you can see where you've been in the solution to navigate back to that area quickly if that type of navigation suits you best. These icons on the dashboard are what we call workspaces. And a workspace is a rich business process-oriented application place that drives productivity by role, providing a 360-degree view of activity, help answering questions about that role, and providing direct access to the tasks that the person in that role needs to get their job done in an efficient manner. Let's take a look at a couple. Now, the workspaces are across all the functional areas and roles in the application. I've kind of filtered mine down based on security to be most of them of a financial nature. But we're going to take a look through some of these today in today's presentation. The first one we call your attention to look at the components is the sales order processing and inquiry workspace, which is where someone comes to process and work through sales orders throughout their day, if that's part of their experience, their job, their role in the company. On the left-hand side of the workspace, we have items called tiles, and a tile is a link to a relevant area of the system where you can go perform that activity. As well, you can have visual cues of the amount of work that's required for you. So if I take a look at here, I can see that we've got 17 unconfirmed sales orders, and if I click on that, it's going to take me right to that list of those sales orders where I would need to execute that work. All right, just jumping back for a minute. So those are tiles, and tiles are both, they're out of the box, as well a user can personalize and create their own tiles all without code with just a couple of clicks. In the center of the form, we have what we call favorites or lists, and favorites or lists are a shortcut to an easy place to view the records that you want to work with. So if I'm taking a look at, I want to search for sales orders, or I have my favorite contacts, I'm looking at unconfirmed, so here's those same unconfirmed orders that are sitting out there in the system. If I want to look at the ones that are delayed, so here's all the sales orders that have delayed items on them. And if I hover over the sales order number at any time, without selecting it, just by hovering over, I'm seeing a quick peek into the sales order header. So I can see this is order 697 for Contoso Europe for $402,000, and the detail. So here's the detail of every line that's on there. So it greatly increases your productivity because you don't have to open the sales order, go hunting and pecking to find your way around for the information that you're looking for. All right, I'm going to pop back here and let's take a look at one more workspace. I'm going to look at the financial period close workspace for those in the financial realm of financial roles. And the financial period close workspace gives you the ability to document all the tasks that are necessary that you perform to close the books on a quarterly or monthly basis, as well as the ability to monitor them. So using that same tile infrastructure, if I click on the past due tile tasks, I can see here is a list of all the tasks that are past due for this entity to close the books for this particular period. It gives you the ability to document your business process to say, hey, what is that task that has to be done? What's the functional area where it gets done? Which company is it for? Who's responsible for it? And when is it due? As a user completes them, they would complete those items and it would take it off the particular list for them. By completing the task, it drives visibility. So here I'm looking, I can see the visibility by company. I can see how close each company is to closing the books. I can go down to a functional area and say, all right, you know, if I look at this, AR and AP are about a third done. If I go down to GL, it's 0%. I can actually get down to a person basis if I need to see, you know, where we are by person in that periodic closing process, raising that visibility. We jump back to the dashboard for a minute, and the next area I want to look at, in last workspace, is the employee self-service. The employee self-service is where that everyday user who might not be in a heavy user of the system would experience the solution. So here's where they could maintain information about their address and contact information at any time, making it more of a self-service environment. They can monitor all their information from HR as far as performance goals they have, how they're tracking against those, updating skill sets, see copies of pay stubs. This is also where a user would be able to enter timesheets if that's part of your corporate, your company. Be able to do expense reports. So if I want to enter and process an expense report, we have a full expense report processing here in the application. Here's a list of the expense reports that I have in process, and if I take a look at this one for the customer visit, I'll open it up quickly, and these expense reports can be integrated with corporate credit cards to import the charges, and the employee reconciles them. Here for this expense report for the customer visit, I have a meal as well as a expense to Uber. We can track the expense report, the receipts here. So if I'm looking on the Uber one, I click over here to receipts, and I can see the receipt for Uber that I can open up and see the details of it if I needed to. So a user is able to fully manage their expense reporting here in the application. Now, another way to navigate around the solution and to find what you're looking for, which happens to be one of my favorite features of the application, is to use the power of search that Microsoft has built into the solution. So on top of every form, we have this search box that allows you to type in and find what you want. So if I want to find all my customers, if I just start typing all customers, it's going to show me everywhere in the application where the customers are used. So I want to go to the customers, I want to see them from accounts receivable, and it's going to take me right to that spot. So easy to find the information that you need for your customers. So this is what we call a list page. A list page is a list of records. So in this context, it is a list of customers. And from here, I have that familiar Microsoft Office ribbon look and feel amongst the on the ribbon bar here. So contextually relevant pieces based on the record that I'm selecting down here in the grid part of the form. On the right-hand side, in what we call fact boxes, I have key information about that record I'm on. So here is I'm on each customer. As I scroll through the customer list, down the list, I can see key information about that without having to open the customer record. Thus, that quick snapshot gets you to what you're looking for quicker, better. All right, I'm going to hide that fact box for a minute. Easy to find information you need in the system. So if I want to filter by any field on this list, or if I wanted to personalize this to add fields or to hide fields, easy to do. Any end user can do that, is empowered in the system. I'm going to find all my excellent rated customers. So I click on the credit rating column, and I'll just type in excellent, and it will filter all the customers down to that list that is the excellent credit rating. So now I can work with just that customer list if that's what I need to at that particular minute. Microsoft Office integration is a key productivity element in Dynamics 365 for operations. So here we are back on our customer list, and we offer the capability to work with the Office products, in this case Excel, in a bi-directional manner. So if I click on the Office icon, I can see here that I can either export the customers to Excel, or I can do what they call open in Excel. And open in Excel will allow me to work on the records in Excel using the same security and the same business logic that's native to the application, but with an Excel interface, and then securely publish it back to Dynamics. And we're going to see that in a couple of minutes on the budgeting piece of this. So back to our customer list, and from here, easy to find records that I want to. So if I come over here in my customer list and I just start typing, I want to find my customer named Maple. And once I start typing Maple, you can see that it's saying, based on what you're typing, which field of the customer list is it that you want to find it? Do I want where the name is Maple, the group is Maple, the currency? I want where the name is Maple. So I say yes, and it brings me to that record. From here, I can quickly open it up and drill into the details to see all the information that I need about this. On just about every form in Dynamics 365, we offer the ability to attach notes or records or any type of attachments that you want in the application. So if we're here for this customer, we have some general purpose notes about the customer, as well as the ability, we attached a customer contract that we can see down here in preview mode, which is nothing more than a Word document that I can open up. For that customer. So whether it's customer agreements, whatever types of items that you are wishing to have for that customer, you can do that. All right, back to Dynamics 365 for operations, and that kind of concludes the overall navigation, productivity, user experience. And now I want to move on to a quick review of budgeting in the application. Budget planning is that set of functionality to orchestrate the development and the approval of the budget or the forecast in the system. We include 2 workspaces for those tasked with developing and monitoring the budgets in the system. The ledger budgets and forecasts is where you monitor existing budgets and forecasts, and the budget planning workspace is where you would go to work with or create that budget process. So I'm going to pull up budget planning workspace, and has that same usability and the same look and feel of the other workspaces that we've looked at before. So here in the center, we can see milestones for this budget process. We can see a list of budget plans. A budget plan is the master document or unit of work supporting the top-down or bottom-up planning process, or the hybrid therein. So here's a list of the different budget plans that we have in process, and while these might be, Q1 reforecast, annual budget, expense, next year workforce, etc., each one of those would be their own budget plan. A budget planning process starts with the creation of initial budget plan that can include information from many sources in Dynamics 365. If I scroll to the right-hand side, I can show you those sources. Those sources being from the general ledger, so I can pull in actuals, I can pull in information from other budgets or forecasts, from fixed assets, from forecasted positions in HR, that would pull in, do your HR level budgeting with benefits and taxes, etc., from projects, from supply and demand forecasts, and then in actual budgets. So you have all those capabilities to help you get started with your budget process. The budget planning process contains the workflows that automate tasks in the development of the budget or forecast and route the planning components through your process for approval. Let's take a look at an active budget planning process. If I call it my budget plans, if I take a look at budget plan number 28, which is the total operating expense budget, we can see that its responsible person is Brad Sutton, is the owner of it. It's in the initial planning phases, and it's a current year operating expense budget. And for this particular company, it's kind of a hybrid. They start with a high-level budget, which is this total operating expense budget, and then through the workflow process, it creates a sub-budget or a child budget plan for each one of the business units that they, in this case, they're budgeting by department. So once this is initially created, then Brad submits it to workflow, and it's going to create a individual budget plan for each one of the departments, because departmental is how this company budgets. So if I pull up that budget plan, couple things. The first thing is we'll take a look at the hierarchy, which will define how they budget in the solution. So the hierarchy uses the organizational hierarchy modeling tool within Dynamics 365. And here we can see that the budget is contained based on the individual departments in the application. And if I highlight one of the departments, on the right-hand side, I can see the status that it's in the process. In this case, last year's budget, how much they've requested, how much got approved, the baseline amounts. All those amounts are easily visible for the whole process. Now, let's look at a user experience for a department manager, in this case, Molly Dempsey, who is the manager for the operations department. So Molly's going to log in separately. Molly logs in, and the first thing that you notice is it's kind of a different look and feel. She has a different color scheme to her dashboard, as well as a greatly reduced number of workspaces. And that is because the role-based security defined that she can only see these particular items. She would click on budget planning, and here she can see in that same budget planning workspace the budget plans which she has been assigned to, and she's only been assigned to that one, number 30. So she's going to open that up, and up comes the unit of work. So this is the budget plan for her department, the operations department, and she has freedom of choice to either enter her amount. So if you look at the budget, they're giving her the baseline, which is last year, and they're requesting her to budget by account on a quarterly basis. She can either enter the information in this type of interface, or what we find the preferred method is to use that Excel front end for that familiar experience. She would click on a worksheet, and it would download to her workspace the budget template that's been assigned to her. And she's going to open up Excel, and then she's going to log into Excel to the Excel admin, which provides the security to the information from Dynamics 365 for her. It's validating her security to the information, and then publishing the information into the Excel spreadsheet here for her to work. It is Excel. It's not Excel-like. You can do any of the calculations, formats, any of the formatting that you can do in Excel, you can do here. So what she's going to do is she's going to go ahead and make some requests. She's going to request I don't know, $60,000 a quarter for the selling expenses. As a quick update, from here she would make the rest of the changes that she needs to. She's now going to publish this back to Dynamics. She clicks on Publish. It's establishing that she has the security to do that, and sending the information back to Dynamics 365. It says refresh. She pops back to Dynamics. She's going to refresh her form, and if she looks at the form, she comes down to the selling expense, and she can see that it is now at $60,000 per quarter, based on the information that she has submitted in Excel and published back to Dynamics. At this point, when she's done, she would submit the budget request through Workflow using the integrated workflow engine to start the approval process. That's a quick snapshot on budget planning. The next point I'm going to jump in is show a little bit on business intelligence in the application. Microsoft believes that every role in every organization should have access to rich business intelligence information in Dynamics 365 for operations. We've embedded access to rich, powerful, in-memory business intelligence on the workspaces with Power BI. So back to my workspace here. I'm going to go to, we'll check out the ledger budgets. Ledger budgets, if you remember, is where the person who would go who is kind of monitoring the budget or forecast after it's already been developed. And hence that person has information here, budget versus actual, in real live information in the center. But the piece I want to call your attention to on the right-hand side is where we have integrated Power BI into the workspace. So here we have some reports from Power BI online cloud-based library that I've elected to subscribe to or to pin to my workspace because these are things that are important to me that I want to monitor. I've got information on actual versus budget expenses, revenues, some actual expenses, and if I'm looking at the actual expenses, I can move around and highlight and see the information I want. But if I want to get more information on it, I will double-click. It'll take me to the cloud-based report library where the background and more information is available on that report. So I come down to that report that's on this dashboard on the actual versus budget, and I got that, I can see the different pieces of the report that I need to. If I ever want to see what information makes that up, right-click, see data, and from here I can see the data that makes up, the records that make up that particular report. We provide pre-built Power BI content packs for Dynamics 365 for specific functional areas within the application. So here we're looking at the financial performance dashboard that is plumbed to Dynamics 365, pulling in all those metrics and KPIs relevant to someone in that role. Well, if you need to get more information about the application and you have the security to the information, you can create a report or get that information by just typing into the query box. So here, if I wanted to create a quick gross margin report, I typed in show profit margin by legal entity as pie chart, and it created that report for me in a pie chart. Now, if that's a report that I want to continuously come back to or I want to share with other folks, I can just come here and I could pin it to my dashboard. Which dashboard do I want to pin it to? I pinned it to my RJE demos, and at any time now, that is now on my dashboard, and it's real live information. I can come back to it. Now, back to the 360 piece, if I come back here to the Ledger Budgets workspace and I say add Power BI tiles, I can go to that report that I just created in my online catalog, and I can pin it to my workspace. So thus, I was able to query the solution, create a report, pin it to my workspace, all very easily in the application. The last part of this usability presentation that I want to walk you through is a Dynamics 365 for Operations unique tool called the Task Recorder that lets any user record a business process for playback later and something we call a task guide. This task guide can be used by any end user for training, system testing, or compliance, or any other documentation reasons. This task guide is part of the business process documentation that can be stored in our cloud-based application lifecycle management application named Lifecycle Services in something called the Business Process Modelers, where you model your business process. Today, I will show the playback of one of these task guides. For this example, we'll have Dynamics 365 show us how to enter a vendor invoice without a vendor invoice that doesn't have a purchase order. So to do that, I come up here and I click on Task Recorder, and it says, what do I want to do? I want to play a recording as a guide. Now, where do I have it? Do I have it stored in Lifecycle Services, this PC, SharePoint? I've got this in my recent list, so I'm going to come down here and find the one that I want to show. And we select it, and I say Open Task Guide. And from here, here's the documentation that was created automatically as I clicked through this business process when I saved this the first time. I'm going to say Start the Task Guide, and it's now going to show me what to do. So it's telling me to click on Vendor Invoice Entry. What do I do next? Well, I click on New Vendor Invoice. So can you see, this is a great tool. If you don't know how to use the application, it can train you how to use the application. What do I do next? I have to enter an invoice account. And you get the message. I can stop. I'm going to stop this now, but it'll go through and it'll do the complete transaction. Very easy tool to use to learn the application. And with that, I'm going to thank you for your time, and I'm going to turn it over to Brent to take us through the retail aspects of the application.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Brent Fudala, Director of Retail, as Jasmine mentioned in the beginning. What I would like to do is carry you through a couple of functionalities as we continue our journey down this digital transformation and show you some of the interactive things that Microsoft has built into Dynamics 365 for Operations with retail. First thing I'm going to discuss real quickly is Microsoft has built two versions of this point of sale. One is called the modern pause and one is called the cloud pause. Obviously, a cloud pause can be operated in any browser. In this case, I'm running with Google here. And what we're looking at is a landing page. We call it a welcome page that shows me advertisements, different starting tiles, products, inventory functions, shift and drawer operations. All of this is completely configurable. What I'm next going to show you is I'm going to show you the Retail Modern Pause, which is a installed Windows Universal application. So this is physically installed on your machine. But as you can see, I have the same exact look and feel for the cloud or the modern pause. So what I'd like to do now is walk you through a couple scenarios. So we're going to go into our transaction screen, and in our transaction screen, we obviously have our lines, we have our customers, we have our total sections, number pads, and then we have our functions that can be listed as tabs or direct query of products. So the scenario that I'm going to discuss today is let's just say I'm a MLS referee, and I currently live in New York, and I've been assigned to referee a game in Seattle, but I need to get a referee's jersey. So what I want to do is I want to go into my New York store, and you can see here I'm in New York, and I need to get a referee jersey. So I walk in, I talk to an associate, and he's going to do a lookup for me, and I happen to know what the jersey number is. So I'm going to do a real-time lookup of the product, and this is going to show me product across all of my stores. And I can see here's my referee jersey, that's what I need, but oh, New York doesn't have what I need. So what I'm going to do is I want to pick this up in a store, and I'm going to Seattle, so I can see that Seattle has 5, so I'm going to do a pickup in store. So when I land in Seattle, I can go to the store. In this case, I'm going to create a customer order. I'm going to say my pickup is there because I'm leaving in the morning, and I'm going to fly into Seattle for the game this evening. And it's going to add this. I need to add myself as a customer. So I'm going to enter my customer number. And you can see it adds me to the customer. In this case, I can set up and pay a deposit on that customer order. But in this case, I'm just going to override it and set it to 0 and not pay a deposit. So to complete this order, I'm just going to hit pay cash. There's nothing due at this point, and it's going to create that order in the system. So I head to the airport, I jump on the airplane, I land in Seattle. And what's happening now is it's creating a real-time order back in headquarters. So I'm going to jump over to my Seattle store. Let's say I arrive in the Seattle store, and I need to recall an order. And I have a number of filter functions that I can find that order on if I know the order number, if I know the customer's name in this case. It's going to be Brent. And you can see the order that I created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up that order. Let's see if my order got created. Close. Yes, it got created. Jump over to my store. Try and pick up my order here. Excuse me. That's not fine. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to go add myself. We're going to buy that shirt. And pay cash, I picked up my jersey. So the other scenario that I wanted to walk through was looking up at the customer insight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a customer. And we're going to drill into Karenberg, and we're going to see the enhancements that Microsoft has built in to managing customers. I can see my customers' information. I can see all of their addresses associated with them. I can make changes and update this information. Save that information. I can view her recent purchases. I can also take a look at Karen's wish list. Now, these are wish lists that have been created from an e-commerce site. Let's say Karen comes in and she's shopping and she's added a couple things to a cart. I can come in here, look at Karen's information. I can click on her wish list and see, oh, she wanted to buy these ballet slippers. So I could suggest these ballet slippers to her at the same time, selecting her size, and then I can add the item to the transaction. Color and style. Go back to my transaction. And I can simply take things from her e-commerce wish list and move them into a sellable transaction. I can pay cash here. So that's one scenario, bringing things from a wish list. So let's go take a look at Karen again. I can also search on any relevant piece of information that is associated with Karen's record or anybody's record. I can look it up by phone number, address, email, whatever it may be. I could drill back into all of her orders. So I could drill back and see that yesterday she bought things. So if she needed to come in and she needed to return this item for whatever it may be, I could drill into all of the information pertinent to that information. I could see how she paid for it. In this case, she paid for it with a loyalty card. I can take a look at receipts. I can reprint receipts. From this point, if I need to do a gift receipt, I can do a gift receipt. If Karen has any type of affiliation, if she's a student or a firefighter or even a vendor, I can assign her affiliation. What affiliations can do for her is give her additional discounts. So the amount of information that you have on your customers is, you could drill down into anything. You can upsell them, cross-sell them in a quick and easy fashion. So the other features is you can have catalogs and different types of categories within the MPOS. So you can look up products a number of different ways. You could do multi-selects on products, adding them to different types of transactions. It's going to ask me what I want size-wise. I bring everything in. You can see that I've ordered a large jersey. If I add a customer, I carry their information. And in this case, you can see that I've got a loyalty card assigned with this transaction. So every transaction, once I've issued a loyalty card to a customer, will carry whatever loyalty programs I'm carrying in the system. Now, this information is visible in the back end. There's enhancements coming in the next version release, which is coming out in, I believe, June, to allow for additional information regarding points and things like that, exposure of the loyalty points. But right now, you're grabbing loyalty points off of the card. You can see that currently I have 1,458 points. If I go back and I complete my transaction, you can see that I get change. And if I jump over to my loyalty and I refresh the screen, you can see that I instantly updated my loyalty points in real time. And as Jeff mentioned earlier, the workspaces and the integration with Power BI allow you to do the same types of things. So I could drill in just as Jeff did. I could see what's going on in my states. I could see what's going on by my employees. And just as Jeff stated, I can interact with this, taking me out to Power BI reports and drilling into the specific information. I could go into my employee performance. I could look at Brent and see the transactions, things, what he's doing, what average transaction, amount of sales, quantity, and whatever measurable components that you would want to measure on your performance. And again, this report that you're looking at here, these are things that are standard services provided out of the box by Microsoft, which can be enhanced to whatever the business need needs to be. So with that, Jasmine, I think that's what I have to show, and I'll hand this back over to you.
Thank you, Brent, and thank you, Jeff, for showing the Dynamics 365 to everyone. I hope everyone got a good idea of what the product can do and all the advantages, and why we say it can really, really help on the digital transformation for your company. We're just going to talk really quick about AlfaPeople. So AlfaPeople is a worldwide consulting company. We work only with Dynamics. That's all we do. We are in 16 countries and we're like 562 employees, last count. We are all over the world, and we only do Dynamics, as I said, and consultancy in the implementation of Dynamics. With Dynamics 365, of course, we are basically hitting all our sweet spots, because the ERP and the CRM and Power BI, and that's all we do, okay? We are very focused on retail, we do financial, we do professional services, all areas of business. We have, Jasmine, you can go on. We have customers all over. So as you can see, we have in all areas of industry. You can, of course, go to our website, and there's tons of success stories and customer lists and the products and everything that you may need for that. And based on the fact that we don't have much more time, I think we can open it for Q&A if anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Peter, Jeff, and Brent. Good information that you all shared. Now that everyone has a better understanding of the benefits of working with dynamic software and some of the functionalities, like Peter said, we'd like to open the floor for any questions with the remaining time that we do have. So if you have any questions that Peter, Jeff, or Brent weren't able to address during the webinar content, please use the Q&A panel on your GoToWebinar panel, and we'll answer them as they come in. While we're waiting on any questions, I'd just like to remind everyone that the presentation from today is being recorded, and we will send out a recording after the webinar. So look out for that in your inbox, and please feel free to share that with any colleagues or coworkers who couldn't attend. I would also like to mention that we do have some great resources both in the handouts panel on your GoToWebinar panel, and also on our website, alfapeople.com/US, where you can read more about how to start your digital transformation journey and see some of the work that we've done with some of our customers, as Peter had mentioned before. I do see a question that just popped in. It says, how does historic data get into Dynamics 365 during initial setup? If anyone wants to.
This is Brent. There's a number of different strategies around bringing in historical data, depending on what type of data it is. One of the great advantages of Dynamics 365 is we have a product called Entity Store, where we can spin up a separate database. We can create that'll bring in the historical data, so creating whatever table structures we need, and then we can merge all of that data for reporting through Power BI. So there, like I said, there's a number of strategies depending on what the data needs to be used for. And if you have specific things, please send them to Jasmine, and we can get back to you after this.
Yeah, and just a quick compliment to what Brent said. Of course, the idea always is to try to migrate the least amount of historic data to the actual system, as an ERP would need a lot of information on a lot of different entities and tables in order to have it there. So the actual solution is what Brent said. We normally set it up on a different entity, and through Power BI and reports, we basically combine any historic information with any information that going forward on the system, what it is implemented, of course.
Thank you, guys. I have this quick slide with all the contact information for the presenters, as well as the email address and website link for AlfaPeople. If you had any additional questions or just wanted to dive in a little bit deeper, please feel free to contact us directly, and we will answer your questions in a timely manner, and we're definitely eager to help you and work with you. As mentioned before, you can reach us, at our website. We have a lot of great resources there, and on behalf of our team at AlfaPeople and Microsoft, we thank you all for joining and for your time today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.